We're at the Elastic Public Policy Summit here in Washington, D.C. Ash Kulkarni, our friend from Elastic, here at his own summit. He should be here. So good to see you here.
Likewise.
Look at both of us from San Francisco here in D.C. Washington, D.C. isn't always the center of the world, or maybe it is, but right now it is certainly the center of the world.
Most definitely.
And efficiency in government is the center of the discussion, of the U.S. government, is the discussion of the world. And here we are, talking about AI, talking about Elastic, and talking about what it means for efficiency in government. Talk to me about what that role is, and then I want to talk to you about how the conversation has changed. But what is the role of Elastic in 2025 in IT systems for the government?
So we do first and foremost, we do a lot of work with the public sector, civilian agencies, the Department of Defense, intelligence communities, state and local, across the board. And AI, as you can imagine, is a massive part of the conversation these days. Not just because of efficiency, but what the administration seems to be trying to really push for is efficiency while improving public offerings, right? And to do that, AI can be a tremendous boost. Just today, we were here listening to panelists from different agencies. The CIO of the U.S. Postal Service was talking about the way they're implementing AI.
It's a small organization.
Small organization.
Not a lot of paperwork
with a pretty
to deal
challenging mission ahead of them, and how they're using AI to sort of speed up some of the code development that they do, to reduce the technical debt that they have, and how they're using AI to improve the services that they deliver.
Wait, let's unpack that just a little bit. Technical debt. It's a phrase most people know. I think everyone doesn't know technical debt, but I think it's a really important concept when it comes to government services. What is technical debt?
Yeah, you think about agencies here in the government, especially an agency like the Postal Service, that has been around for such a long time. They have a very rich heritage. But with that heritage also comes a lot of technology debt. Technology debt in terms of the software when it was written, their systems.
Old systems. Systems that were a good idea at the time, maybe.
Well, I mean, it's the natural part of evolution, right? Like everything, like you build things, and then over time, there are new technologies that come about, and you have to improve them. A lot of the work that they do is based on documents, papers that need to be moved around. And they are going through they're always going through a phase of trying to modernize. And so their CIO was talking about the way they are doing that, improving the efficiency, improving the kind of service that they offer to all of us as citizens and consumers of their service.
It is kind of amazing what the Postal Service does now.
It's incredible.
I get an email every day that has pictures of the mail that's going to arrive.
That's right.
It's amazing.
It's extremely modern. You get the same kind of service as you would expect from a FedEx or any commercial organization. But that's just one example. Another example that I personally thought was one of the most heartwarming examples of the use of AI was the investigation part of the Homeland Security Organization. So the Homeland Security Investigations or HSI agency. They are tasked with, one of the many things that they're responsible for is detecting, tracking, and stopping human trafficking, all forms of trafficking, but human trafficking. And it takes a lot of effort to detect and track human traffickers and their activities.
Because the criminals are spending all of their time to make the crimes work.
Absolutely, right? And these are these are extremely challenging things that human beings endure if you're on the wrong side of a crime of the sort. Now, they were able to improve, using our AI capabilities, our vector search platform, our search AI platform, using it to marry image information, image data with all the textual data that they have and other forms of information like phone calls that they can transcribe and turn into text. Unstructured data of all forms. Using our vector database to then search across it using semantic techniques, they were able to bring down their solve rate, as they call it, the speed with which they're able to solve these cases by 40x, 40 times faster. And you think about what that means
the human impact
to human lives, right? Exactly. That is, to me, unbelievably powerful, because that tells you the power of AI in improving efficiency, but also really delivering unprecedented value. And that's the kind of work that we're doing with the public sector.
I don't know if Barbara Walters here, but like, how does that make you feel to know that your software is having that kind of impact on rescuing people, saving lives?
There are moments in time when you sit back and you're sort of stunned. And part of it is because we are big believers. We started in open source. We're big believers that our community, our developers, our users are our superpower, right? And they are extremely creative, they're very innovative, and the more we can partner with them, the more, not only do we teach them, but we learn from them. And then you see some of these use cases blossom, like these ones that we're talking about. It's so rewarding, it's so much fun.
Well, let's talk about that too, because I think that's a peculiarly, did I make up a word? Elastic thing. Because this elastic notion of sort of land and expand, have one person walk into an organization, say, I used to use this software somewhere else. That's how Elastic used to get into companies and then grow. The notion that your users find new use cases, that you guys have been doing vectorization long since AI was cool, and that your users find use cases that then you can populate the rest of the world with. How do you try to encourage that in an event like this Public Sector Summit here in Washington, D.C.?
A lot of it is helping connect different folks, because there are literally so many different leaders of agencies right here at this event today, from the military, from the Department of Defense, from various civilian agencies, and they teach each other because there are some commonalities in everything that we do. AI is very dependent on the data that underlies what you're trying to analyze and the decisions that you're trying to take.
And who has more data than government, probably?
Well, exactly. And there's a lot of it, but it often ends up being very siloed. It ends up being very fragmented.
Right.
Because different agencies, for historical reasons, for policy reasons, etc., tend to have very strict rules. And privacy reasons tend to have very strict rules about how they control their data. But the more you can enable data sharing, the more you can enable the rule-based and secure access to the right relevant information, the more you can unleash this creativity, the more you can actually deliver tremendous value to citizens, to various kinds of mission use cases. And that's what our platform allows you to do. Our Search AI Lake was designed for exactly that purpose, like being able to create that kind of a model of sharing access, being able to view information without forcing the centralization of data, because data movement is very, very expensive and challenging. So it's the technology that we bring to the table, but then by partnering with them, encouraging them to share what they're doing, teaching each other, we create that community effect, and that's been a big part of our strength.
Am I right in believing that it's easier, I don't want to sound like a commercial, but that an engagement with Elastic is not the same as creating a new database or finding a completely new system to organize something, that getting into these businesses and getting these government entities is something that can be really additive without being crippling?
When you think about Elasticsearch, the project was started 15 years ago now, and ever since, because of the open source roots, Elasticsearch has become ubiquitous. Right? Whenever you're dealing with unstructured data, it's one of the first technologies that come to developers' minds, and they naturally lean towards it. And that's a big part of our superpower, our ability to get our developers to naturally be advocates for us. The platform was always designed to make it simple, incredibly easy to bring in data and index it and search across it. And our goal is, every time we do something new, we always ask ourselves the question, how do we allow current existing Elasticsearch developers to now be able to do this new thing without learning too many new skills or too many new techniques? That's how we built our vector database. We built it directly into the platform. So if you're an Elasticsearch developer, you are now automatically a Gen AI developer. You don't have to learn new, significant new APIs or anything of that sort. You just change what the index is called, and automatically the platform does all the right things under the covers for you. So that's our model. And yeah, to your point, it's a easier onboarding experience.
And I would imagine also for things like security and observability, once you're already there with search, it's kind of easier to expand a little bit.
Because efficiency matters, because it's the same data. And yet yesterday at dinner, I was talking to a group of agency leads, and the point I was trying to make to them was, think about all the data that you duplicate over and over again. Oftentimes, the same data that you need for cybersecurity is also needed for observability. Now, wouldn't it make sense to just keep it in one place and not duplicate it, but allow different folks to access it as they need it based on security and access privileges? And that was a very exciting concept to all of them. That's the kind of stuff that, from our perspective, just makes natural sense. And our customers also relate to it because they can see how it can help them be more efficient. And like you said, efficiency and effectiveness is the mantra, and it should be. And they're really leaning into it.
Fantastic stuff. Ash Kulkarni, we're going to be here lots more of these conversations today. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Ash Kulkarni from Elastic.